Hi guys, Marcy here, and today I'm going to bring you the highly requested part 2 of my KP / all about skin and skincare treatment video. So the video I'm talking about is one of the first I ever made on this channel. It is my most highly watched video by far. I never in a million years thought that video was going to get the amount of attention that it has. I do get a lot of comments on that video, people expressing their frustrations with having KP and problems similar to that I've discussed in that video, as well as things that may or may not have worked for them. And I've been meaning to put this video out as my part 2 to that for at least a couple of months now, and quite frankly it is just very hard for me to do. It is not an easy subject for me to talk about, so I've kind of been avoiding it. But today I'm finally biting the bullet and I am doing it. I will be talking about a lot of the same stuff I talked about in that video in case no one has any idea what I'm talking about if you've never seen that video. But then at the end, or for the second part of it, I'm going to divulge into this whole bucket right here, which is filled of skincare stuff that either has worked for me or has not worked for me and was a complete fail. I wanted to give you guys, just some tips on, certain skincare things that, work great, especially, with KP and clogged pores and sensitivity and dryness and all of that kind of stuff, and some things that maybe people absolutely rave about, but there are people that don't have these problems and they can turn out to be really big disasters for people suffering from KP or dryness or sensitivity or anything like that. So with that said, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is what am I talking about? What is KP? KP is Keratosis Pilaris. It's commonly known as KP, just shortened for the initials, or chicken skin, or the little white bumps or skin colored bumps that you see on the backs of people's arms and things like that. It is a buildup of the keratin protein, which is a protein that your body naturally makes. But people with keratosis pilaris, their body tends to create too much of this keratin protein, and it can clog your pores, and it prevents your dead skin from shedding, it prevents your hair follicles from growing out properly and things like that. So what happens is if your skin never sheds or if your hair follicles can't grow out of a clogged pore, it creates this bump underneath your skin, and then new skin just grows over it, and that's where you get these little bumps from. Sometimes they're skin colored, sometimes they look like a little whitehead, and sometimes they look like they're red and blotchy. Keratosis pilaris is essentially harmless. It cannot physically hurt you, although it can cause a lot of emotional trauma, low self-esteem, stuff like that, because quite frankly, it's not pretty to look at. It can affect the way you view yourself and your body image and things like that. I know for me, my entire life when I was young, all my friends would be like, "What's on your arms? What's all those bumps on your arms?" And then you have to either figure out how to explain what it is to them, if you even know what it is at that point, or just make up some kind of crazy lie. So it cannot physically hurt you, but it can, bring you stress and unnecessary emotional trauma and things like that. About 80% of the world has some form of KP to some extent, whether it be, minor, severe, somewhere in between. Mine, for as common as it is, mine is extremely severe. About 90% of my body is now covered in KP. Keratosis pilaris is also something that's commonly known as control, not cure, which means that there is no actual cure for KP. It will never completely just go away. There's no miracle treatment that can just make it disappear. It's something that has to be, controlled and monitored on a day-to-day basis. There's topical creams, there's all sorts of things now that you can get either over the counter at your local drugstore, through a dermatologist or some kind of skincare program, or you can just do a whole bunch of DIY stuff. You just go to Pinterest and type in KP or keratosis pilaris or chicken skin, and you will get thousands of hits on Pinterest for DIY stuff at home. Some of these things may be total fails, some of them may work, some of them may work, but only for a short period of time, and then they stop working and you have to find a different treatment, which happens to me quite often. So that is the general gist of what KP is, you know, how it's treated and things of that nature. I have had this for pretty much my entire life. It started showing up when I was in the 4th grade. To give you an idea of how long ago that was, I'm almost 30, so I've been dealing with this for like 20 or 25 years now. KP is known to gradually go away or get better as you get older. Typically, if you are young, if you're a teenager or a preteen and you have keratosis pilaris, there is a good chance, especially if you kind of start treating it now while you're young, that by the time you reach between 30 and 35, it will basically just diminish or go away completely. It's just one of those things that as you get older, it can go away. Mine is doing the opposite. Unfortunately, my keratosis pilaris is getting worse as I get older. So yeah, I've been dealing with this for like 20 or 25 years. I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm an expert on KP. I'm certainly not a doctor or anything like that, but I've tried a whole lot of stuff. I've had a whole lot of hits, a whole lot of fails, and everywhere in between. So that is why I like making these videos, especially for young people that aren't really sure what's going on with their skin, or, you know, they're afraid to ask their parents to see a doctor, or just scared or confused as to what's going on. I kind of just wanted to make this series to, you know, help everyone understand what it is, because I know it's not really talked a lot about in the world of skincare. My story, like I said, I started having, you know, signs of KP on my arms when I was in about 4th grade. It progressively got worse and worse and worse. And I'd ask my parents. My parents thought nothing was wrong with me and that I was just going crazy. And so I never went to a dermatologist until just a couple of years ago. By the time I went to the dermatologist and I found out that it was keratosis pilaris all this time, the damage was done. It was too little too late. I had started picking at my skin around, I don't know, 10 years old, just because I thought they were like little whiteheads or little pimples. And, you know, I didn't know any better. And, you know, I've been continuously picking at my skin for almost 20 years now. And at this point, it's almost become like an OCD for me, which is, you know, my own problem that I'm working on. But I can definitely say that picking at your skin, while it might immediately help release the keratin and make that bump go away, it will definitely hurt you in the long run with scarring, scabbing, redness, irritation, infection, things like that. So if you are young and you have this and you're picking at your skin, please, please, please try your best to stop, because it is not going to help you in the long run. But like I said, you know, it's something that I have to deal with on my own now. And even if I didn't pick at my skin would still be terrible. But I don't think it would be quite as bad, at least with scarring, as it is now. It went for so long without ever seeing a doctor, without ever knowing what was wrong with me, that by the time I found out it was keratosis pilaris, it was just too late for me. So I'm trying to do it now, but I have, on top of having KP, I have very dry skin, very sensitive skin, and I also have rosacea and eczema in parts of my body, which do not help the situation either. So while a lot of this is focusing on KP, I will also be talking about things for dry skin, for sensitive skin, but the main part of this is just the keratosis pilaris, and, you know, things you can do, what it is, how to treat it, and, you know, tips and tricks and things like that. So the most common treatment for KP is this right here, and this is ammonium lactate. This one in particular is 12% ammonium lactate. It does have a drugstore dupe. It is called amlactin. You can find it right on your CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, anything like that. And it can run you anywhere from $10 to a smaller bottle to about $20 for a bottle that is similar to this. So this is a lactic acid. It is formed from the acid that originates from like sour milk, which is why it's called a lactic acid. And it's a very thick white paste. I will show you guys. So a little of it goes a long way. It is very thick and shiny and a little bit sticky, but it is the most general treatment used for KP. So this you would put on 1 to 2 times a day. You do have to do it every single day. Like I said, KP is control, not cure. So all of these treatments are things you would have to do on a regular basis to keep your KP at bay. If you stop doing it, the KP will flare up again and come back. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that you have to live with. Hopefully by the time we all die, there will be a cure for KP, but that has not happened yet. So this is the most common one. Like I said, it's either this or amlactin at the drugstore. Something called derma rollers are also incredibly popular right now for treating KP. I have not personally tried a derma roller yet, and essentially what a derma roller is it almost looks like a little lint roller, except there are very, very tiny fine-tipped needles coming out of it. I know that sounds horrifying. Like I said, I have not tried it myself yet. I heard it doesn't hurt. And essentially, you just roll the derma roller on your arms or wherever the KP is. By puncturing your skin, it helps your skin want to grow and regenerate and heal itself and kind of get rid of the KP. Now, I've been told by a lot of people that it does work. However, I do know that you do not want to use a derma roller if you have any kind of active breakout. So if you have acne there, pimples, any kind of active breakout or opened wound like that, you do not want to use a derma roller. It can in fact make that situation worse. So if you are using a derma roller, only use it if you just have like clear skin and it's just the KP, no acne, infection, breakouts, anything like that. I know a very popular thing that everyone talks about is coconut oil. And actually, coconut oil is one of the last things that you want to use if you have KP, because coconut oil is such a thick oil that it actually clogs your pores more. So if you're someone that is using coconut oil, there's a very good chance that you're making your KP worse instead of better. Your skin might look better just because it might look hydrated, because the coconut oil is very hydrating, especially if you're someone that has sensitive skin. But the oil in the coconut oil is just too thick for something like that, and it will definitely help to clog your pores back up, therefore making your KP worse and actually harder to get rid of. So that is just some of the ways you can do it. Now I want to get into this whole bucket of stuff right here. And a lot of this stuff you guys have seen from my haul videos, my review videos, stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of this that I've talked about in like first impressions videos and things like that. So especially like the Clinique one, the Glam Glow one, it's all IT Cosmetics. All of that stuff is in here. So if you guys saw those videos and you're like, well, I wonder how that ever worked out for Marcy, you're going to get the answer if you watch this video. So with that said, we are going to get started. I'm going to try and keep this semi-organized, like all of lotions in one area, cleansers in another, stuff like that. I can't guarantee it, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about are things that are formulated specifically for the treatment of keratosis pilaris and acne on the face. So of course, the first thing I want to talk about is this ammonium lactate. You can use this on your face if you have KP on your face. I personally choose not to, just because I think it's a little too harsh, especially because my skin is so dry. Now, if you are someone with dry skin, this does help moisturize the skin as well. However, it is, like I showed, very thick and very sticky. So I tend to use this in the daytime on my arms and my body right before I get in the shower so I can wash it off. It does work, but it is something, like I said, that you have to use on a daily basis if you want those results. And it can take some time to actually start seeing those results with either this or the amlactin. But these are the most common and the most gentle of all of the KP treatments out there. So if you're someone that's seeing the dermatologist for the first time and you're finding out that you just have KP now, this or something like this is probably what they will give you. Like I said, the main ingredient in this is the lactic acid. Other very common ingredients for KP are urea, and yes, you heard that right, urea, and zinc. So anything with those 3 ingredients would initially be really, really good to help KP, especially if you don't have very stubborn KP, or if you just have it in certain areas such as either the back of your arms or the back of your shoulders. So for me though, it's hard because like I said, it's on so much of my body. It's just a lot to cover with just this one bottle of lotion. On the higher end of the scale, another thing that is very, very popular for people with KP is this DermaDoctor KP Duty. So this is what it looks like, and DermaDoctor has a whole range of KP stuff and other kind of skincare things. This is an AHA, just like the lactic acid. This does have the urea in it. Very, very similar to the ammonium lactate. This is a thick white paste that, you know, a little can go a long way on your arm. I spent a pretty penny on this, and I got this on sale. I spent $32 on this bottle. $32. So this is definitely more of a high-end skincare as far as KP is concerned. And quite frankly, it didn't work for me. It was a fail. As a matter of fact, this will also, if you have any kind of open wound or anything like that, this will also sting like the ammonium lactate if you put it on for a couple seconds. But what bothered me most about this is that it almost acted as a skin peel. I put this on my skin, and within 20 minutes, if I start rubbing my skin starts coming off almost like it's a chemical peel, which is not what it is made to do. I mean, I don't necessarily mind it, but it's not helping my KP. So I'm using the bottle, and I've had this bottle for probably at least a year now, and I'm just not impressed with it. I'm just using it because I spent so much money on it. I've seen the reviews that people either absolutely love it and it did wonders for them, or it did absolutely nothing for them at all as far as the KP is concerned. And unfortunately, I am just one of those people that it didn't do anything except somehow create a chemical peel on my skin, which it isn't even supposed to do. So for me, the KP Duty was a dud, and quite frankly, I think for the price and for what they want from this, it's basically the exact same thing as the lactic acid, except you're using the urea instead of the lactic acid. It's personal preference, but I personally don't think it's worth the price. The next 2 things I want to talk about are things that I just talked about in my last video, and it is my treatment from CUROLOGY. Now, CUROLOGY is basically an online dermatologist. You go to curology.com. You fill out, you know, some paperwork as to what problems you're having with your skin. You take some pictures, you submit it, they hook you up with a dermatologist, and you get a prescription right at your doorstep for your acne and other skin care needs once every 3 months. Now, it is a pay-by-the-month thing, just like an IPSY or a Birchbox or anything like that. It is about $20 a month. And like I said, you do only get this one bottle is supposed to last once every 3 months. They do only focus on the face. So if you are someone that has KP, there's not really a whole lot they can do for you, just solely because they're more focused on acne, skincare, preventative measures, wrinkles, anti-aging, stuff like that. But I wanted to throw it out there because like I said, I do have some issues with acne. They tailor this to your needs. So my little tube of lotion is totally different than everyone else's. I have to tell you guys, and I told you guys in that video, it's working. It is clearing up the skin on my face, and it's doing a pretty good job. Good enough that I might continue paying the $20 a month for it. There are 3 active ingredients in this. Everyone, no matter, you know, what you get, everyone gets 3 active, at least 3 main ingredients in their little concoctions. It is working, I have to say, really, really well to control the acne and the redness on my face. So I am very impressed with this. I do have a 1-month free link down below if you want to try it out. I am currently using Michelle Phan's 1-month free that she offered on one of her latest videos. I will get, I think, some money off of my next subscription, like my next $19.95 charge. If you use that link, of course you don't have to use that link if you don't want to. You don't have to sign up at all if you don't want to. I'm very open with stuff like that. But it's kind of like an IPSY. Anyone that signs up gets that referral link to then get money off of their next subscription charge if someone signs up. So I'm just telling you guys that if you want to check it out, You guys know my thing with skincare. A lot of stuff does not work for me and actually hurts me more than helps me, but this is actually helping me. So I also got this in the mail with it, and this is called Sebamed. It's a moisturizing body lotion for sensitive skin. It's dermatologist recommended, and this they gave to me because they thought it might help my KP, and actually it's doing a pretty good job. Now, for the amount of KP I have, of course, I flew through this bottle. It's basically empty already. Not only does it moisturize my dry skin, but it is helping kind of control my KP. So I do actually want to see if I can like find this somewhere or somehow get like a full-size bottle of this, because I'm pretty impressed with this. So yeah, just a little shout out to this little guy because he's actually been working pretty well for me. So that was it on things like specifically for KP and my skincare that I either got from my dermatologist or just general things that are meant to help specifically with the KP.